I have 3 guests. Probably going to wait a little bit, a couple of more minutes, and then we're just going to start with whoever we have here. Okay, see you in a few minutes.
So I have insurance on this car. Okay. Now these officers conduct a child.
Okay. I would appreciate seeing some faces, but it's up to you. My name is Katrina. I work at the Southeast Regional Service Commission. I am one of the coordinators of the Connector program, and on a daily basis, I look at people's resumes. And hi, Taleb, and I'm constantly learning about this topic, watching lots of videos, watching lots of videos, and reading books and doing everything I can to keep myself updated on this topic and help my clients navigate employment opportunities and making their resumes better. People who know me have already seen everything I know, actually. So Taleb and Tana, I'm not going to say anything new. You've already seen it. I'm just, actually for today, I just prepared a better resume example. I'm going to share my screen and share the file that all the Connector program participants are receiving when they register for the program. And at the end of today's session, we have 2 guests from Working in B, Sasha and Lise, and they are going to present about their services at Working in B, so stay tuned. In the meantime, I'm starting to share my file. I just had a client meeting and went through it like I do every day. So here's what I do for a resume. This is okay, let me preface this with, I'm not an HR professional. I'm not hiring people. I'm not going through people's resumes on the other end of employment. So everything I do just comes from my personal research from it and my personal experience. Keep that in mind. So everything I recommend today is up to you, and you are probably the only person who is interested in making your resume the best. So I always recommend people listen to everything you can listen to, and then do what's best for you. Right? So this is what I consider the best right now, but things change all the time. Advice you receive today may not be the same you receive in 2 weeks, because you never know, things change. Like I remember when multitasking used to be the biggest skill, people put it all over the resumes. Right now it's not. You need to be able to stay focused, especially in the short form video era where nobody stays focused anymore. Putting on multitasking on a resume is not really considered an asset anymore. So I'm just going to go with the template, and then we'll talk about other things. So how I recommend starting your resume. You put your name and your last name. If you have any like special degree, like a PhD or even a master's degree, you can add it at the end of your name. If not, just the name is enough. The only thing I would add about the name is my personal recommendation. If you have a long ethnic name or you have like 7 names, just put what you introduce yourself by. So when you shake a person's hand, what do you say? How do you introduce yourself? You probably don't say all 4 names that are in your passport. This is not a document. This is not an official document. You don't have to put everything in it. Just put the name that you usually introduce yourself by there and your last name. Then you put your phone number, email, city, and country. So if you're in Moncton, you put Moncton, comma. You can put Canada or you can put New Brunswick, but you don't put your home address on your resume. And then you can hyperlink your LinkedIn link. Do not keep the words phone number, email. It's obvious. If it's a phone number, people can tell that it's a phone number. You don't have to waste space on a resume on the words phone number or email. I see that a lot. That's why I bring it up. The next thing, in my opinion, one of the most important things on a resume is the target job title. So a lot of times people put a job title. A job title they consider their job title. So for instance, my background is international education. I have 2 degrees in teaching English, in teaching children in the educational environment, right? I don't put on my resume English teacher when I'm applying for a project management job, right? If I have a degree in HR, but I'm applying for a recruitment position, I say recruiter or talent acquisition on my resume, because that's what the employer is looking for. We put the target job title of the job posting that we are applying for, not what we consider ourselves, what they are looking for. Admit. So let me just read through this to make sure I don't miss anything. So professional summary. This is usually 1 paragraph. This is what it kind of looks like. This is probably double the information that needs to go on it, but this is the instruction. So after this webinar, I can send you the same file, and you can always use it as a reference. Usually professional summary is 6, maybe 7, maybe 8 lines, not like 15 like I have here. So use the name you introduce yourself by, not necessarily your passport name. Long foreign names may scare the employer. I heard it, I've seen it, like if your name is too hard to pronounce, they might be scared. But then a lot of times I meet people who have a long name, but then they say, hey, I'm Ola. Why do we put this whole name that is scared? And I don't mean scared, right? I mean, the person wouldn't want to make you, like, offend you by mispronouncing your name. That's a little barrier that can prevent you basically from moving forward. I would shorten, like I did shorten my name. My name is Katarina. For some reason, being such a universal name, it's almost in any language, it still has a Ukrainian spelling in it, which a lot of times people are confused about how to say it. So I've just started putting cat. Cat is not confusing. Cat is easily to digest. It's not scary. People are not scared to offend me. I just put there, and then if they want to know my full name, I'll let them know. If they want to know how to pronounce it, I'll let them know. But I'm not making my full name a barrier to me potentially getting an interview. I also have a paternal name that goes in my passport. I don't put it anywhere because it's irrelevant to the Canadian market. Nobody's going to say Katerina Sergeyevna, nobody, but that's my name actually. So these are some barriers that we can remove ourselves. There will be lots of other barriers, but these are we can control. These are the ones we can control. So you don't have to keep it there. You can just put the short version, something you actually go by, and it's going to make it easier for the person on the other end to say it, which means they're going to be more open to meeting with you. Email needs to look professional. I see it all the time. Please, if you don't have one yet, just create one with your name dot your last name. Oh, see, that worked. A lot of times people put absolutely random stuff on it instead of their actual names and or random numbers or user, whatever. I literally saw an email with one of my clients last week that said user and then 5 numbers. I'm like, what? How am I supposed to remember that? What if I want to contact you? What if we meet today and in 3 weeks I come across an opportunity for them? I remember their name, but I don't remember their email. What am I going to do? My instinct is to go into my email and try to find them by their name. And if their email is not tied to their name, how am I supposed to find them? That's another barrier that we can prevent. That's something we can make so obvious that it's very easy to find us. And that's what we want to do. We want to be easily accessible for opportunities, right? Use the job title of the specific job you're applying for, the target job title. This paragraph is a professional summary, a paragraph about your work experience, including number of years, 2, 3 most important hard skills, what the employer is looking for in the job posting. So I usually say that this is a place where you can customize your resume because normally on a job posting, there will be a set of skills that the employer is looking for in a candidate. This is a place where you can demonstrate that you have those skills, right? So they might have 5 that they're looking for. Pick the most important 3 and put there. Of course, it's preferable that you actually have those skills and you can actually speak about them. So I don't recommend lying on a resume. I don't recommend saying something you are not confident about talking, because if they ask, it's going to be obvious, right? So, and also out of 1,000 skills that you possess, I think it's best if you put the skills that they are actually looking for, as opposed to everything you know, right? If we put everything we know, I just saw a resume that was 7 pages. It was literally about every experience, every skill that person knew, and one skill they didn't have is writing a resume, right? Because that resume is just not going to work. The person sees that it's 8 pages or 7 pages, and they're not going to take it seriously just because it's not a Canadian standard, right? I made that mistake once. I once applied for a job, and my resume was 4 pages. It was a few years back. And the person, I actually had like a warm welcome into the job, and I had a person who passed my resume over to somebody. And I think when they opened it, I saw that it was 4 pages. They were just like, no, this girl doesn't know anything about resumes. But at the time, I thought it doesn't matter how many pages your resume is. As long as you can explain it in a resume, it's going to be your advantage. I don't think that today. I think today your resume needs to be under 2 pages, and it needs to be a intro into your experiences. It doesn't need to be everything. It needs to be the best stuff. So you open the door with that resume, and then in an interview, when the door is open, you can talk more explicitly about all of your experiences when they ask you about it, right? So right now, resume is like your advertisement board. You put the best stuff in it. You don't need to have 50 bullet points for each job. You don't even need to have 10. You need to have 2 to 5. That's enough. If they are good bullet points, that's totally enough. So let's go further. And your sales pitch. Basically, this is where, in your professional summary, this is where you demonstrate that you are the right person for the company. A lot of times I see people put objective. I need a job. A lot of times they say, my goal is to find employment with this kind of company or whatnot. This is not a place to do that. This is a place where you demonstrate how your experience and your skills are going to benefit the company. You're selling here. You're not asking for a job. You don't want to come off desperate that you need a job right now because you don't have anything to pay your bills with. You want them to see that you're a confident, skilled potential employee that they are looking for, and that you know how you're going to solve their problems, whatever their problems are. This is what you can put on your professional summary. You need to have a new resume for each job you're applying for. That's, you can't really have a completely new resume for every job. But here in professional summary, with the target job title, with the key skills that every job posting is looking for, I think this is where you actually customize it. This is the best place to customize your resume, in the professional summary. If the job is like is asking for very specific things, and you have those things in your background, but you didn't mention it for a different job application in the bullet points, this is where you can mention it too. If you want, you can customize it in your bullet points too. But the most important place you customize it, I think, in this first sentence. And I'll give you more examples later, like actual examples of how it should look like. Your LinkedIn needs to be active with a professional profile photo and correct location. A lot of times I see that it just says Canada on it. And then you open up the profile and it doesn't say anything about you being here where you're applying for a job, right? And I don't mean the word Moncton, New Brunswick, or Greater Moncton area or Southeast region. I mean your whole profile doesn't have anything local in it. You're not taking selfies with local people that you're meeting while networking. You're not taking pictures or participating in pictures at the local events that you are attending. There are no pictures of you volunteering places. All of those are helping you demonstrate that you are actually here. A lot of us are immigrants. A lot of Canadian employers receive lots of applications from people who are outside of Canada. The more we can do to demonstrate that we're actually here, and LinkedIn is one of the ways to do it, the more we should do it. So I always encourage people to take selfies, post about wherever they're going. Every time somebody goes to your LinkedIn, they should see familiar faces on your LinkedIn, because it is going to help you open the doors. LinkedIn. If you have an ethnic name at the end of your professional summary, you can add a sentence, eligible to work in Canada or permanent resident in Canada. That is going to be really helpful for the same reason, because they are not going to go through, I need to see if this person is actually already in Canada. They're going to look you up and see. They don't want to do that. They don't know if you're eligible to work or not, because they receive lots of resumes from outside of Canada. Make sure they know right away that you're already here and ready, right? That's one way to do it. Sometimes people edit actually here next to their contact information. I prefer it at the end of professional summary. It's still not far into the resume. It's not at the end of your resume. So that's how I would do it. And I have a very long last name, very foreign last name. This is what I would do if I were applying for a job here right now. I've added some AI prompts. We're going to go to them later. And also my advice is try to fit your resume into 2 pages max. And this is what I just mentioned. I need to admit somebody. Okay. Then you can go with career highlights. It's not necessary, but this is one way to do it. You could also go with key skills if you want. Just make sure that those skills are your hard skills. They are solid, measurable things like, I don't know, knowledge of some software, or if we're going for career highlights, it can be some awards that you received, or maybe you worked on a big important project that was very like impactful in your community. You could talk about that. Something that makes you really stand out and demonstrate your not just hard skills, but also soft skills, and just makes you look good, right? Because it's a resume, it needs to make you look good. Okay, then we talk about professional experiences. I usually recommend to go from, well, it's normal, right? You go from your most recent to the furthest. I just saw a resume where a more relevant experience was on top, but a local experience that wasn't as relevant to the job was at the bottom. I would still go with chronological order. But that's me, and you can do what you think is more right for you, right? A lot of times people try to put like their casual jobs experience just to demonstrate any local job experience, like Canadian work experience. That's still up for debate. I know people who are very pro, let's post, let's put any job experience that is local. And other people think that you might, like, if you are aiming for a big role with like a big salary, that a casual work experience at like as a customer service or a server somewhere may hurt your resume or may hurt your potential, how much money you're going to be offered. I don't have a definitive answer to that, unfortunately. Personally, I probably wouldn't put my random job experience that is not relevant to my job. I would probably skip it. But that's me. You can do what you think is better for you, right? What I recommend doing here is to start with your position at the job. So that is the job title that you have at that organization. And with international people, sometimes we put stuff that was that doesn't exist in Canada, for instance, or we mistranslated it. Like I met with somebody yesterday who put manager account on their resume, and in Canada it's account manager. You know what I mean? So when you put manager account, it doesn't mean anything, or it just looks wrong, right? Because that's not what it's called here. So it's better to either find the right translation or sometimes even substitute with something that makes more sense here. It doesn't have to be 100% the exact position that you had there. As long as your bullet points explain the job and correspond to the title, you can use that title. For instance, if you had a project management responsibilities, but your title was some sort of officer, but you're applying for a project management job, you can put project manager in the job title. Am I making it clear? Like, does anybody have any questions so far? Or suggestions?
You're
Okay.
clear on my end.
Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. I was saying you're clear on my end.
Okay, good. Thank you. If anybody has any questions, just raise your hand. It's hard to navigate guests and this at the same time on the screen, but I'll try to make sure I see it. Just turn on your mic and just start talking if you want to say something and I don't see your hand up. Okay, so position, then the month you started and the month you ended, then the company name. And if it's an acronym, I usually recommend opening up the acronyms, because especially if it's outside of Canada, nobody knows what it was. And Googling it may bring you to a completely different company and will give the wrong impression. Just explain where you worked. And actually, if you have an opportunity, like if you know your company's revenue or how many staff worked in the company, or just explain what the industry was, you can add a sentence saying, a large manufacturing company producing this and that with 1,000 people of staff, or a revenue of $5 million per year. That will give the hiring manager understanding of what kind of company you belong to, right? And what kind of capacity you're able to work with. Experiences in a company with 10 people and experiences with a company of 1,000 people are very different experiences. This will help you put yourself in the right box for the hiring manager. And then location. So you put the city and the country, just like that. Start with your most recent position and work backwards in time. Keep the resume under 2 pages. Again, see, I'm saying that again. Use the best stuff. Explain everything else in the interview when asked. List bulleted accomplishments. That's the most important part of my resume template, is that I don't want you to use job descriptions. I want you to use job achievements instead of job descriptions. And I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to teach you how to do that. List bulleted accomplishments which provide examples of when you successfully used the skills employers are seeking. That specific employer of that specific job that you're applying for, this would be a good place where you can customize your resume too. If not, just brag about stuff that you did. Just brag about something impressive. Make sure you have between 2 to 5 bullet points in each section. Doesn't have to be 10. Like I said, if you had 10 work experiences, because some of us are old, we had many jobs, right? You don't want to put more than 2 bullet points per experience if you had 10 jobs. You will never have 2 pages enough for that. Just make sure your resume is concise, shows the best stuff, and keeps people interested. Do not use job descriptions, focus on achievements. I'm going to talk about it later. When writing about your experience, consider these questions. What was the result outcome of your work? What were your accomplishments? How did you impact the organization? What skills and knowledge did you grow? How does this experience relate to your internship or employment goal? More information, I'm going to talk about it later too. Demonstrate soft skills within your work experience details. That's something I'm also promoting, advocating for. Do not make a list of soft skills at the end of your resume. Nobody's going to read that. It's not relevant to what we're doing here, because you actually want to demonstrate the soft skills that you have within the bullet points of your resume. And I'm going to teach you how to do that too. So is everybody clear on what's hard skills and what's soft skills? If anybody has a question, please ask. Now is the right time to ask that. And I'll take a sip of water. Okay, now that everybody knows.
Hi, Katrina.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. I just wanted to find out, you talked about hard skills, soft skills. From my end as well, I've also heard about transferable skills. So I was hoping you could.
Absolutely. Okay, so your hard skills are things that you have obtained in your experiences. These are either the software that you know how to use, or something that you can back up by a certificate, right? It can be like Microsoft Suite, or I'm proficient in Excel, or even languages that you speak. Those are your hard skills, things that are measurable, things you have certification for. That's basically your education, I would say. Even like your degrees are your hard skills. Your soft skills are your communication skills, are your problem solving skills, are the things that you can't really measure, but they make you a great team worker, team player. They make you somebody who starts things and finishes them. They are all the things that help you on your daily basis in how you communicate with your clients, how you communicate with your colleagues. All of those are soft skills. And I'm going to give you some examples later. And your transferable skills are both skills that travel with you between your jobs within your career. So in one job, you can be a project manager, for instance. It's just the majority of people I work with are project managers. Or actually a better example. So somebody who was a lawyer in their country of origin and they came to Canada, they can't really be a lawyer, at least right away, unless they get accredited here and they need this whole new education, or I don't even like, or they can transition into a legal assistant. That's a process, right? But they need to sit down and think, what else can I do with the skills that I have? And make a list of transferable skills that will be useful in other jobs. And I personally think that a lawyer could make an excellent HR, for instance, right? Because a lot of times both need to be able to work with documents, or to be able to be attentive to details, or understand legislation. Because somebody who was a lawyer may not be accredited to talk about law here, but they will easily be able to understand a handbook on employee rights. Like, it will be way easier for somebody than for me, because I don't know much about that. Somebody has their hand up.
Hi, yes, it's me. Hi, Katerina. I have a question about work experience. So when I graduated from academy, I put my student project in my CV to show, to highlight my hard skills. Right now I have experience and I would like to remove this, but I have really good and important hard skill in this student project. What should I do? Should I still keep this experience, or it's better just to move with don't think about hard skill?
Why do you want to remove it though?
Because it's not enough space. Like,
okay. Well, if it's a hard skill, you can just list it under hard skills, and skip the entire project. Or you can reevaluate your resume and look at other things you can remove, because if that's chronologically, if that makes more sense to
Yes.
keep your student project, I would keep that as opposed to something you had in Ukraine 15 years ago. I would stick to something that's more relevant to today and here.
No, it was like 3 years ago, so
Well, not 15 years ago.
yeah.
Okay, we have another question.
Thank you so
Yes,
much.
Sure.
yes, Katrina, thank you. Now, between hard, soft skills and transferable skills, I just wanted to find out which should come out strongly on my resume. Which should I prioritize?
Transferable skills are the soft skills and the hard skills. If you are transitioning careers, that's where we're talking about transferable skills. If you're staying within the same career, they're just your soft skills and just your hard skills. So it's not about prioritization, it's about your goals. If you transfer, use transferable skills from one career to another. If you stay in the same line, you just use your soft skills and whatever it is that you need to put on your resume. Let's move on and you'll see further what I'm talking about here, okay? Okay. Demonstrate soft skills within your work experience. Details, use action verbs and quantified metrics to highlight how you applied these skills. For instance, collaborated with cross-functional teams to streamline project delivery, improving efficiency by 20%. This is basically how I promote doing all the bullet points. Always try to find a number, because my logic is that if your resume makes it through ATS, right? It needs to pass the ATS most of the time, the applicant tracking system that is automatically putting your resume in a pile of yes or no. If your resume passes the ATS and actually makes it to a human person's eyes, they will have 6 seconds to look at your resume. It used to be 11 seconds 2 years ago when I first heard about it. Now it's considered that it's 6 seconds. How much can you read in 6 seconds? Not really much. So if I were to look at somebody's resume, I would go here, then the first sentence, do they have the key skills that I need? How many years of experience do they have? And you'll see more examples of this. And then I would go and skim the whole resume, and my eyes would stop at numbers. And I would want to see, what does that number represent? What is this number about? What is this? What is this? What is this? I'm just going and looking at numbers. That's why I encourage you to put as many numbers as you can into your resume. Numbers must make sense. You can't just put random numbers in your resume, right? And also every number needs to be explainable. So if you put something like this, improving efficiency by 20%, you need to be able to answer the question, how did you measure that? How was it measured? Because a lot of times people put stuff on their resume and don't know the answer to it. Don't do it, because you're only going to hurt yourself. Like, why would you want to jeopardize the opportunity when somebody's actually interested in your resume? Only put stuff you're confident in. Don't put something you are not able to answer the question of how was it measured. Okay, next, work experience, same format, position, company, explain what the company is, where it was. Your bullet statements should be in proper tense and proofread. It's an attention to detail matter. I see it all the time, especially when people put in their professional summary, one of the skills, they put attention to detail, and then the tenses are wrong, or there is a dot here and a dot here, but no dots anywhere else. All of those little things are annoying, and they are your attention to detail that you just bragged about. So I actually try not to put attention to detail on my resume, just not to put myself in this situation where I missed something. I could have missed something, right? Always proofread it. Always proofread it. Also read it and see if it's like flowy. It all needs to make sense. You're talking about one experience, both bullet points should kind of be talking